In every conversation, every glance, every moment of silence or speech, you are laying bare your mind, like an open book left on a crowded table. Yet, this openness is no innocent act. It is a trap, a vulnerability that the cunning eagerly exploit. Machiavelli's ancient wisdom reveals a truth that modern psychology confirms: your transparency is not strength, but a map that guides others to your weaknesses, your fears, your secrets. The human brain is wired for social navigation, to constantly scan, analyze, and predict the intentions of others. It is an evolutionary necessity to survive in a world filled with both allies and predators. But this evolutionary wiring also means you are constantly being read. Your smallest micro-expressions, a fleeting shift in tone, the slightest hesitation, these are clues, secret signals that reveal your true state before your words can hide it. And those who know this use it to their advantage. The desire to be open, to share your thoughts and feelings, is rooted in the illusion of trust and authenticity. You believe that if you show who you truly are, people will respond in kind. But Machiavelli saw beyond the naive veil of honesty. He understood that in the ruthless game of power, openness is a fatal flaw. Every secret you reveal is a weapon handed to your adversaries, a lever to pry open your defenses, to undermine your influence. Your openness is read like a language. Others translate your facial twitches into uncertainty. Your nervous laughter becomes a sign of guilt. Your hesitation is decoded as weakness. Even your moments of overconfidence become red flags signaling desperation. The social world is an endless surveillance network, and you are its most transparent subject. But this reading is not just about enemies. Even allies unconsciously analyze you. Friends and lovers scan your vulnerabilities to gain emotional leverage. Colleagues observe your reactions to anticipate your moves. In this way, your openness feeds a silent economy of influence, where the most unreadable rise to the top and the transparent fall prey. To protect yourself, you must learn the art of psychological invisibility. Machiavelli's warning is clear: conceal your intentions, mask your feelings, control your expressions. Become a mystery, an enigma. When others cannot read you, they cannot predict you, and when they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. This concealment is not about deception for deception's sake. It is strategic silence, calculated ambiguity, and disciplined restraint. It requires brutal self-awareness, recognizing when your natural impulses betray you and training yourself to resist. It demands you cultivate a presence that says nothing, but commands everything. Consider the power of silence in conversation. When asked a direct question, a strategic pause, a slow measured response, or even a deflecting question, throws others off balance. It denies them certainty and forces them into discomfort. This discomfort shifts the power dynamic, placing you in control of the interaction without uttering a word more than necessary. Your body is also a language to be mastered. Machiavellian secrecy extends to posture, gaze, and micro-expressions. A steady gaze that neither challenges nor avoids invites respect. A calm face that betrays no internal storm disarms attempts at emotional probing. Even your breathing can be controlled to mask anxiety and maintain a facade of imperturbability. But why do others read you so easily? Because your brain betrays you. Cognitive leaks occur when your mind races ahead of your words, when your emotions flare before you can contain them. The key is to slow your internal processes, to detach from immediate reactions and observe your own state as an outsider would. This meta-awareness is the first step toward becoming unreadable. Machiavelli teaches that appearances are everything in power. To conceal your inner state is to create a shield of appearances that is impermeable to scrutiny. Yet this is not about wearing a mask permanently, but about controlling when and how to reveal. Selective revelation, like a master strategist revealing just enough to mislead or entice, keeps others guessing and off balance. Every word spoken is a potential crack in your armor. The less you say, the less you give away. The greatest generals of history spoke only when their words would shift the battlefield. In social and psychological battles, your words are your soldiers. Deploy them sparingly and strategically. Openness also invites emotional exploitation. When you reveal your fears or desires, you hand over control. others use this information to push your buttons, to manipulate your behavior. Machiavelli warned that emotions are tools of powerlessness when uncontrolled. To master the game, you must guard your emotional signals as fiercely as a fortress guards its gates. This requires training your emotional responses to respond with neutrality or calm detachment even when internally you burn. This is the psychological armor of the Machiavellian warrior. Emotional unreadability creates confusion and hesitation in others, which you can exploit. Yet the art of concealment must be balanced with strategic exposure. Total silence or withdrawal can create suspicion or alienation. Machiavelli's genius was knowing when to reveal a controlled fragment of truth or emotion to guide perception, to build trust on your terms, or to mislead opponents. This is the dance of shadows, the interplay of light and darkness in human interaction. The danger of being open in modern society is amplified by technology and social media, where every moment is captured, recorded, and dissected endlessly. Machiavelli's warnings become prescient. Once your life is a public spectacle, the opportunities for psychological reading multiply exponentially. Here, invisibility is more critical than ever. In the ending part, we will explore practical methods to build psychological opacity, controlling body language, mastering silence, regulating emotional leakage, and crafting strategic communication. You will learn how to make your mind a locked fortress, your words coded messages, your presence a riddle. The path to power demands you stop being open. To survive and thrive, you must become unreadable. Because those who cannot be read cannot be conquered. To truly master the art of being unreadable, you must first grasp how human perception works. Our brains are wired to detect patterns and read subtle cues constantly, often unconsciously. This relentless scanning allows others to infer your emotional state, intentions, and weaknesses long before you speak. What this means is your body, your expressions, your tone, everything leaks data. To stop being open is to control these data streams, to close the windows others peer through. The first battlefield is body language. A nervous tick, a fleeting grimace, or a diverted gaze can speak volumes louder than any words. Machiavelli would advise you to practice what the ancients called sembianza, the art of carefully crafting your outward appearance so that it reflects power and calm, regardless of the storm inside. Keep your posture open but relaxed. Your movements should be deliberate, your gestures minimal. Avoid fidgeting or sudden changes in expression. The goal is to appear a calm, unshakable presence, even when you are not. But this control extends deeper than posture. Micro-expressions, those brief, involuntary facial expressions that reveal true emotions, are often the Achilles heel of the unreadable. They flash too quickly for most people to notice consciously but register subconsciously. To counter this, train yourself to hold a neutral, composed face. Practice controlling your breathing, which influences facial tension. Some of history's most effective leaders mastered this, never allowing their face to betray anger, fear, or uncertainty. Next is vocal control. The tone, speed, and rhythm of your voice reveal much about your mental state. Machiavelli's counsel was to speak with calm authority, never rushing or hesitating. A slow, measured voice conveys confidence and control. Avoid rising intonations that signal insecurity or questions. Master the art of the pause, using silence to punctuate your speech, forcing others to lean in and seek your next word. Silence becomes a weapon, disrupting others' mental rhythm and forcing them to fill the gap with their own uncertainty. The subtle power of strategic silence cannot be overstated. When asked questions, resist the impulse to answer immediately. Pause. Reflect. Sometimes, simply returning a question with another question destabilizes the seeker. The Machiavellian knows that silence is a mirror in which others see their own anxiety reflected. The more you resist the urge to fill silence, the more others perceive you as enigmatic and in control. Beyond physical cues, your verbal communication must be guarded. Every word is a thread that can unravel your secrecy. The Machiavellian employs strategic vagueness, answering with ambiguity to avoid giving concrete information. This frustrates attempts to pin you down or predict your moves. For example, instead of saying, "I will do X," say, "I'm considering several options." Instead of giving clear reasons for decisions, say, there are factors beyond what you see. This maintains control over the narrative by withholding certainty. Openness often stems from an emotional need for validation and connection, but this is a vulnerability. To guard against emotional leakage, cultivate emotional detachment. Observe your feelings without immediately acting on them or revealing them. Train yourself to recognize emotional triggers and respond with calm, not reaction. This doesn't mean becoming cold or unfeeling, but mastering emotional regulation so your inner state does not betray your intentions. The Machiavellian also exploits controlled revelation, choosing exactly what to reveal and when. This selective openness keeps others guessing and off balance. It allows you to plant false trails or create illusions of transparency without surrendering real power. Revealing a minor truth to distract from a major secret is a classic tactic. It feeds the ego of others who believe they know you, while you maintain the deeper layers hidden. Another psychological principle at work is the exploitation of confirmation bias. People tend to see what they expect or want to see. By controlling the narrative carefully, through what you do reveal and how you behave, you can guide others' assumptions. If you cultivate an image of calm authority, people will interpret ambiguous behaviors as strength rather than weakness. If you project confidence, they will overlook or rationalize inconsistencies. Mastery of perception means you don't have to be invulnerable, you just have to seem so. You must also beware of oversharing, the tendency to reveal more than necessary out of insecurity or a false belief that honesty builds trust. Machiavelli saw trust as a currency to be earned, not freely given. Revealing your thoughts or plans too early is akin to placing your cards face up on the table. Your rivals will take note, prepare counters, and exploit your openness. The prudent strategy is to hold your cards close, revealing only when advantage demands it. In modern social contexts, this lesson is even more vital. Social media and constant connectivity create a flood of personal information, much of it unconscious and uncontrolled. Machiavelli's warning here is clear: by exposing your thoughts, feelings, and daily life to the public, you create a dossier that can be weaponized. Competitors, enemies, and opportunists will mine your openness to predict your actions and exploit your weaknesses. Digital invisibility and restraint become paramount. Understanding the psychology of reading others is equally important. When you realize how easy it is for others to read you, you also understand how to reverse the process. By carefully observing body language, tone, and reactions, you can detect when someone is probing for your secrets. Recognizing these attempts early lets you deploy countermeasures, strategic silence, vagueness, or even misdirection, to protect yourself. The Machiavellian mind also masters misdirection, deliberately feeding false signals to mislead readers. This could be a planted hint, an ambiguous gesture, or a carefully timed emotional display. By controlling the flow of information about yourself, you create a labyrinth in which others become lost, chasing shadows while you move freely. Finally, internalizing Machiavelli's warning demands a radical shift in mindset. Secrecy becomes a virtue, openness a liability. This requires self-discipline, emotional regulation, and constant vigilance. It is a lifelong practice, not a one-time trick. But the payoff is profound: psychological invulnerability, strategic advantage, and mastery over how you are perceived and read.